You are now listening to the Asylum Wrestling Podcast.
And that's the bottom line.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, listeners. We are here live in the Asylum Wrestling Podcast after our 2-week hiatus. We were all in Haiti taking vacations, and I think Magic was in Hawaii, and Nick was in Tahiti, and I don't know where Nate has been. So we have with us, as always, tonight, we have the great belt man himself, Nick Francis.
What's going on, guys? What's up, David, John, and our wonderful producer, Nate? Not going to lie to you guys. I'll just be straight up with you. I've kind of missed chatting with you guys up on here, so glad to be back in action, and I want to welcome the listeners wherever you're listening from. And I've got a jam-packed show for you. We've got a non-free giveaway coming up, so stay tuned for that later on in the show. And like I said, stick around with us. You'll definitely enjoy it.
And, of course, we have the Magic Man himself.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you are listening to this, guys. We have missed you. We've been gone too long. I tried to convince Nate and Gold and Nick to let us do about a 4 or 5 hour show. Unfortunately, I was outvoted. But, guys, we got a killer in line for you. It is coming up. We got news. We got notes. We got the pay-per-view loser contest with all of us. Let's see where we're standing in that. And guys, as Nick said, we got a great giveaway, so just stay tuned. Listen to the show. It's going to be awesome.
And by the way, I just realized I fucking said Tahiti. I don't know what the fuck that is. It's 12:26 in the morning. I'm just going to say that's a new country, and we're just going to go from there. Just for everyone listening, like, what the fuck? So, yeah. Anyways. So, guys, I want to kind of start the show out because we haven't had a show since the Rumble. I wanted to get your gentlemen's thoughts, and, of course, Nate, you can chime in as well if you choose to do so, on what we thought about the Rumble and the results and whatnot. And I'll get us kind of started off on my thought on it. At first, I'm not going to even sit here and lie. I'm probably like one of every million people that actually sat there and watched this thing and was like, man, I'm really so fucking sick of this Brock Lesnar stuff, right? It's tarnishing the Rumble. He's throwing every fucker out within seconds. But then when I kind of saw the direction they were going with it and how he was eliminated by McIntyre, it not only did it build McIntyre up hardcore, but honestly, I kind of loved it after watching it again and understood what they were doing. And for once, I have to give the writers their credit on that one, or whomever came up with that idea. It did make Lesnar look super strong, but it made McIntyre look even stronger when he finally eliminated him. Also, on top of that, I thought it was a pretty good show. I thought the Women's Rumble was pretty good. I wasn't a big fan of Charlotte winning it again, of course, but I am a fan of what is possibly to come from it. And at the same token, I'm a little kind of indecisive. I love seeing Santino Marella, but I don't know if I would have had him come out that late in the Rumble. I thought it was freaking hilarious. I thought they built Beth Phoenix up really nicely in that match and kind of showed her dominance from what we used to see many years ago. But overall, I thought it was an excellent show. A lot of ways I can see things going, but overall, I thought it was a great match. So, what are you guys' take on the show?
It's hard for me to disagree with anything that you said, David. I think they had the perfect winner in the men's Rumble. Picking Drew McIntyre, he's overdue for a WrestleMania run. Whether he wins the title or not, I don't know the direction they'll go with that. But perfect winner there, and like you said, the way they had Brock in it, I'm not going to say it was predictable. I didn't see him winning it. And we'll get to that later in the show when Magic tells you that I did predict the winner of this men's Rumble. But
spoiler.
I think it was Yeah, spoiler alert. But I honestly think it was a pretty good pay per view. Like I said, it's been a couple weeks, so I'm trying to remember exactly every match from it, but I don't recall a bad match from it. I think the Fiend and Daniel Bryan match was, real good. Not gonna, again, pretty predictable. I didn't see Daniel Bryan winning that match, and as he didn't. But I think it was a great match, and overall the pay per view, like I said, I think I made a post about it. I would definitely give it, an 8 out of 10 at worst. The women's rumble was. I'm not on board with Charlotte winning, but I agree with the direction they may be going with her going for the NXT title. It looks like so that's got a pretty good outcome in that, and I'm looking forward to it. It's one of the better pay-per-views that I've seen in a while, which I'm a big Royal Rumble fan anyway, so it's kind of hard to screw that pay-per-view up. But overall, I'd say it was very good.
What about you, Magic?
All right, so on some of these matches, guys, I'll just go over the win, whatever. Won't spend a lot of time because there's a couple points I do want to make on these. So let's just start on the kickoff show. We had Sheamus and Shorty G. That's kind of, in my opinion, a pointless match. No one really gained and no one advanced from that. You can say, hey, Sheamus is back, so it's a victory on his way back. I get that. But beating Shorty G, no one's like, oh, my God, Sheamus is back. It's Shorty G. The U.S. Championship was Andrade and Humberto. It's kind of crazy. I'm sure this storyline and everything was before the suspension. Which is a little crazy because usually when someone gets suspended, they're going to drop the belt. They kept it on Andrade this time, so that's a little there. But I haven't made up my mind on Humberto yet. I really like Andrade, but Humberto I'm not sure about yet. The next matchup, we had the Falls Count Anywhere, Roman and Corbin. That was what it was. Not like a super technical, awesome match, but we knew it wouldn't be. I mean, it's Falls Count everywhere. It's a big baseball stadium. We knew that one was going to go crazy. We had Charlotte win the Women's Rumble. I'm okay with that because, in my opinion, there's still not a woman on the roster at Charlotte's level. I think she is ahead of everyone by a good gap. Some people might disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. I don't think there's another woman on the roster right now that will challenge her or push her enough to where she could be. Next up, we had the women's SmackDown women's, Bayley versus Lacey. Bayley won, not like a super duper amazing match or anything like that to me, but, Bayley keeps on with her championship. It is kind of interesting to see how quick and how quickly they were able to make Lacey face. And then we had that strap match, the Fiend and Daniel Bryan. I thought that was a really good match. But I also think any match with Daniel Bryan, that guy is just so good in the ring. Whether he's face, heel, win, lose, he will make a match by himself. Becky defeated Asuka. So here's my unpopular, I'm probably in the minority on this one. I'm tired of Becky. I don't know what it is. Her little gimmick, her act, people don't remember, but this was supposed to be a Becky heel turn, and she did not accomplish that. People still liked her, whatever. That's good. That's cool. But then I want you to remember when Daniel Bryan made his heel turn. He was super duper loved, came back from injury. He made his heel turn, and like that, the fans were on him, hating him. Now let's think of Becky's. She made her heel turn, and she didn't get the response they wanted. Now you can say, oh, she's stone cold face or whatever. That's cool. I get it. I'm just not big. I'm a little tired of it, or a little, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that's how I am. But her and Asuka did decent match. Asuka's really good in the ring, so that was great. All right, now on to the men's rumble. First, we'll talk about Drew. Drew's an amazing choice. I think as fans or serious fans, we've been waiting for this for some time. But guys, the thing I want to talk about is Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar in this match might have had one of the best in-ring performances of all time.
Whoa. Okay, hold
Yes,
on.
100%.
No. Go on, but no.
I actually agree. I actually agree with that.
Yes,
Yeah, I do.
Brock Lesnar was amazing. I mean, he did such amazing. Go back and pay attention. Now, what happened was a lot of people missed it because you were all pissed off. Oh, I don't want to see Brock.
Performance, but best in
No,
ring.
best in-ring performance of all time. One of.
My heart just like shattered in a million pieces. There's so many better matches than what he's put on, but okay, I got you.
Just go back and watch. Watch the way he sells. He's able to look like a monster. He's able to make opponents look good. His sells, his reaction. This was an amazing performance. Then I want you to think of how many different individual spots and interactions he had. That is amazing just in the memory and the ring work alone. Now, like I said, a lot of people were pissed because they're like, oh my God, Brock's just throwing them out as soon as they get in. But guys, this is one of the best ever. A little known wrestler actually agrees with me. Y'all might have heard of him. His name is John Cena. He actually said that Brock Lesnar is the best in-ring performer ever, and he loved the Royal Rumble performance.
And that's coming from John Cena, though. Grain of salt.
Yes, Gold. The John Cena who sold out millions and millions and has been in the business for 20 years versus Gold. And
hey, there are millions of people that would agree with me and millions of people that would disagree with me. And yes, Cena's been in the business for 20 years. That's great and good for him. But I still have the right, as somebody who is at least knowledgeable on wrestling to a certain level and certain degree, to disagree. Now,
well, that's true,
but I could do what Cena can do in the ring? I would never.
It has nothing to do with that. But you did say, "Oh, that's John Cena saying that." Grain of salt. Grain of salt. Those are your words.
To me, he wrestled
like he's nobody.
Right.
He's to me, and this is just my sole opinion, and no one else's. It's not fact. It's not something that some people would agree with and some would disagree. What I'm saying is merely a David Gold opinion. Doesn't make it factual at all whatsoever. In my humble opinion, John Cena wrestled in a time, most of his career was in a time when they've been in a lull. So that's my opinion.
Okay, good. But we're not talking about John Cena. We're talking about Brock Lesnar here. I challenge anyone, including Gold, to go back and watch this Rumble. And all you got to do is watch up until Brock is eliminated. That's fine. But I want you to take away your emotion. I want you to take away your hate for Brock. He's a part-time worker. Your thought of, oh my God, they're going to make him just throw this. I want you to remove all of your emotion, be completely bland. And I want you to just watch Brock. I mean, pay attention to the little things. Watch his facial expressions. Watch his movements. Watch how much energy he is. Watch how he's able to be gassed and still push that pedal. Watch how he's able to look like a monster, but yet make his opponents look amazing too. And I'm not talking about the first couple where he threw him out quick, but the legitimate guys. Watch when Keith Lee comes down. That whole performance in the ring, that's all amazing. Now, he also
was amazing.
It was. And then he put over Drew McIntyre so huge. And Paul Heyman, too. Don't give Paul Heyman his credit, too. But there's like Brock literally sold the Claymore for, I think, 3 minutes just laying on the ground. And Paul Heyman looking up in such shock and disbelief. I mean, that was an amazing performance. The other one little thing, well, not little at all, was, I know because y'all are wrestling fans too, y'all had to love it, but how can we not talk about the Edge return? This is the rumors that had been going on for a while. And then right before this, Edge had said, oh, I'm not even under contract. I haven't gotten clearance. I didn't go to the doctor. So we should have known, being that he's a worker and a wrestler, that meant he's definitely making his return. But The only thing I wanted to say about Edge, obviously, had been gone a long time. I thought he still handled himself pretty well in the ring. You could tell he's getting blown up quick or getting tired quick because, The Rock said it when he's come back and everything. You can be in the best cardio shape, you can be in your best shape, but there's still a difference between in-ring work. So to me, it looked like he was getting a little tired. But other than that, I think Edge performed awesome. What's y'all's take on Edge?
I think the next night, what Edge did was even more important. He was amazing. I think for coming back after being out of the ring for so long, he moved around extremely well. I think a lot of the observations from some of the younger fans were, why did he steal Roman Reigns' spear? And I'm like, what? But
someone actually said that?
Yeah, there have been a couple people. But the next night, not to jump ahead, but the next night when Orton came out and the fans looking like, wow, like 'cause he sold that injury on his neck, like Orton brought it back and taken out the stretcher, and the Legend Killer coming back in full force again, because Orton had they weren't using him, they weren't giving him direction in the past couple months.
Right.
And all of that was great, but not to kind of go away from what you're asking. I think Edge coming back and then lasting that long, I think any of us, I mean, maybe not you, John, because you've been in the ring and recently, but I think if I got in the ring right now, I wouldn't last a minute, let alone what Edge did, and he had a full-on spinal surgery.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll agree with you, Gold. When I watched the Monday Night Raw where Edge gave his promo, it made me, and and I gotta watch myself because it's so easy for us who are, us who aren't 18 to think it's always was better back in our younger day, right? Everything was better. Oh, sports were better, football, baseball, wrestling. But his promo just made me think like this is what WWE is missing today. And then give Randy Orton credit too. I think Randy Orton had a very entertaining and awesome performance too. He made it, like when he climbed up and he was gonna kill him by jumping and then changed it just to the chair shot. I thought Orton did great as well.
Steal his concerto.
I think it saved Randy Orton. Randy Orton was getting stale to me, and this right here just, revived him in my opinion. Because obviously they're going to fight at WrestleMania, I would assume.
Oh yeah, that he's signed, I think, for about 5 matches throughout the dirt. He's on more. He's like a Brock Lesnar contract with a couple less matches, but
yeah. And I think wherever you read, I think I'm not going to quote which place because I can't remember exactly. They've gone back and said, well, it's actually a little bit more than that. So I would probably think that before Lesnar re-signed this last time, it's probably something like that. And that's obviously why they did that injury, so he can now go away for a little bit and they don't have to burn up his dates as quick.
Yeah, he'll probably be gone for about 3 or 4 more weeks, show back up like at the Raw. Like one of the Raw. Kind of what they did with Taker at WrestleMania 20 when they had him pretty much out until like 2 weeks before WrestleMania, and then he pops back up and Kane's like, no, you're dead, but I think that
it was crazy.
I agree with Nick. Orton is very stale. He was all, and I'm not trying to insult the guy. That's not his fault. That's just what WWE was doing to him.
Right.
Orton is amazing in the ring. I've loved him since his upset over Benoit in 2004 when he won the belt. I thought that was something huge, and I've always been an advocate for Orton. And his whole Legend Killer stuff was epic. His whole feud with Undertaker, culminating up to their WrestleMania match with his father, was amazing. Orton has always been great to me, and I think they had no place for him. And then Edge comes back, throws him out of the Rumble, and then Orton's sitting down on the mat laughing. Because if you guys remember, at one of the Rumbles, when they were rated RKO, Orton threw Edge out. So he was laughing at him. So you thought, okay, but you didn't know that made Orton snap. And you brought out that Legend Killer. So the whole setup was just just amazing. And the stuff
Right.
that Edge has done in his career,
Yeah.
inventing himself and reinventing himself, and from the whole Edge and Christian comedy skits and stuff like that. They were amazing then, and then his singles run where no one knew what was going to happen because he was never without Christian for the first 6 years of his career. Then you start having him in singles, and they didn't really push Christian like they did Edge.
Right.
It took Christian leaving to go to TNA before they realized how good Christian really was. But I apologize, I went off, but
and watching the some of the videos that of the crowd reaction, the pop that Edge got was freaking amazing.
Yeah, and I think well deserved too. I mean, anytime you get someone like Edge who makes a return, I think anything we get from them at that point is just gravy on top of, that's he can, anything we get from him, he's at that point where I'm not going to go, oh, that match just sucked, why did they even do it? It's everything is a bonus basically.
And then when he stood in that aisle and stared, you're not a wrestling fan if it didn't pull on your heartstrings a little bit. The way he just stood there and took it in. I can only imagine if I ever made it to the WWE or even AEW or even ROH, right? That's how I would be if I stood in an aisle. Fuck, I'm here. I know his feeling wasn't, I'm here, I made it. It was more of a, I'm back, type of thing. But that's how I would feel in any shape or form if I was going into an aisle and someone entrusted in me to go out and perform. So that's how I would be. And I would just take that shit in. And I would be rushed down the aisle because who the fuck am I, right? But they were he could have stood there for 10 minutes and they wouldn't have said shit to him.
Right. And it was I know they're performers slash actors slash whatever you want to call, but I mean, I want to, and I do, inside, I feel like a lot of that was pure real emotion, because it was, it was more than just I'm playing a wrestler who's going to go try to win a Rumble. There was a lot of personal there. And I think that was some real reaction in his facials and stuff.
Well, alrighty, listeners, we're going to take our first break. And when we get back, we are going to discuss something we all watched recently on Netflix, The Toys That Made Us. I don't know if all our listeners have watched it yet, so spoiler alert, we will be discussing that episode and our thoughts on it, and kind of going over our thoughts and opinions on the figure lines. We will be right back.
Have you ever been excited to photograph your figures only to be disappointed? Fuck! These pictures suck!
Don't worry, I got you, bro.
Call David Gold's Figure Photography.
Sexy.
Get the pictures you need of your figures. Stovetop.
He's on fire!
Off-centered on carpet.
Nice stuff, bro.
You name it, David does it.
Sexy.
PM David Gold to schedule a consultation today.
Alrighty, listeners, we're back, and hopefully you guys used the restrooms or pulled over and used the restroom if you're driving or whatever you're doing right now. We did forget one important thing. Nate, what were your thoughts on the Rumble?
I think that I have two words, Drew Mac. I've been a Drew McIntyre mark since, I think, 2005 when he was teaming with William Regal on Velocity. That guy is a star, and if you watched Raw this week or last week or even the Rumble, I don't think there's been a guy that's had the heat that guy has and is over with the crowd since the emergence of Daniel Bryan. And if Vince is not looking at that and does not put him over at Mania, then I will know that Vince has lost touch. I thought the rest of the pay-per-view was great. I thought Brock did great in the Rumble. The only other thing that I have to say, and I've mentioned this on the We Can't Wrestle Live show this week, was one of the my biggest issues in WWE now, and it's such a little issue, but for me it's a big one, is I have no idea who made the decision to make Lacey Evans a face, because she was an amazing heel. Like, her coming out and calling a town, you people are nasty. Like, that whole thing was great, and she really got over with me, and then her as a face just is a popcorn fart to me. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Popcorn fart.
It's I don't get it. Like, you have this chick that can be just an amazingly nasty heel and get amazing heat, and you're ruining it by making her a face. And I'm not saying anything bad about the character. You know, I understand. You know, she's a mother and et cetera, and that's great. But I just think she was so effective as a heel that they're missing the mark on her as a baby face.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I don't like. I guess I'm one of the minority, but I really don't like the whole. Let's continue to show the husband and the daughter in the stand crowd over and over again. It's
cheesy and lame and boring, and I'm not hating on her family or her child, but I'm just saying, like, for the show, yeah, it's lazy and boring booking to me.
I love
agree,
when
Nate.
she pulled their gloves off and smacked people with them, and that's just, you're right. It was. I'm holier than thou. She had that whole Southern Belle, I'm better than you thing going. I liked it too. You're right. I agree. And I think at WrestleMania, had she continued being a heel, it would have been awesome for her to knock Becky off.
Definitely.
That would have been good.
Definitely.
So, yeah, and I agree. I think it's bad. It's lazy booking, like you said, and you can tell, like, Bayley once again, assumption on my part. I think you can kind of tell when she uses her as a mom as a cut down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's dumb. That gets nowhere with anyone.
No.
Like when Bayley goes, "Oh, you're a bad mom" or whatever. No one cares about that.
Yeah, it's stupid. And Bayley used as a heel is stupid. I don't know. I just that whole thing. I know it's such a small part of the Rumble pay-per-view, but those two being miscast as they are really stuck out to me. But the rest of the show I thought was actually a really good Rumble, probably one of the better in the past few years, and I'm looking forward to Mania.
Yeah, I missed the inflatable tube men for sure. I love that Bayley. Hugs for everyone. Hugs for all. So we're going to kind of segue into, and I was just watching this the other day, and I thought this would be a great topic. I'm behind the masses. Obviously, this has been out for, I think, a month or so, or 2 months now. I happened to sit down and watch The Toys That Made Us. I really need to watch the rest of the series, but I kind of skipped ahead to the wrestling episode because obviously that's my passion is wrestling, collectibles and whatnot. I occasionally dabble in other stuff, but I'm more so the wrestling collector. But so just wanted to kind of discuss with the gentleman here your thoughts on the episode, some stuff that kind of shot out to me, the people they picked to interview for the show. I think the four of us should have been on there.
100% agree with that one.
I think I can drop some chips on my shirt as well and be interviewed and talk about that's what happened. That's what happened. I can do that too. And it was very interesting to see how we could have possibly had some Galoob WWF figures. And I don't know if we would have been as excited as we were when the Hasbros came out. Like, honestly, I've always loved Galoob figures, don't get me wrong, but I always thought they were like the B toy compared to the Hasbros. And
you're correct.
So, and I think it was like a fart in the wind on Galoob's part, like, oh shit, we lost the contract. But it was really funny how Remco almost had it. Can you imagine the figures we would have gotten if Remco had it? It would have been like a bunch of He-Man figures again. Kind of what we're getting now with the Motu figures, but they actually have more design to them, of course. But nonetheless, what is your thoughts, gentlemen? I think my first takeaway is that ultimately speaking, Jax was the big winner here at the end. But I would tell you that it was kind of very interesting to watch how it kind of went down and how Vince McMahon was Vince McMahon again. And they actually gave him credit in the episode saying that he gave Galoob an opportunity to match what Hasbro, LJN, Universal was offering, because Universal owned LJN at the time, for those of us who haven't watched the episode. And honestly, I had forgotten that Universal owned LJN. So, what are you guys' thoughts on the episode that you saw?
So I watched it, and I thought completely opposite of you, Gold. Obviously you were watching it with your Jax colored lenses, because they even said in the episode that Jax were crappy and really a disappointment when they first came out.
They can go to hell.
And now as I look at it through my Hasbro colored glasses, it was obvious to me that Hasbro's were the best. But and all joking aside, I thought it was really good. So at first I thought, like, oh my God, they needed so much more. They needed this and that. And then I realized that's me as a collector saying it for the masses of people who are watching this, who are just trying to remember childhood memories. It was good. It was very good for them. Me as a collector, I would take a whole season of in-depth nothing but wrestling episodes. But that's because I'm the weird collector guy and not the normal person watching it.
I know what Nick's about to reference. Go ahead, Nick. I know what you're going to say, because I just thought about it.
No, you go ahead. What are you thinking?
No, go ahead. You kind of referenced it the other day when you were talking about LJNs.
I'm just for one, I'll start by saying that, they what was it, like an hour episode? So you didn't have as much time to put so much information into 1 hour. So I think they did.
I think it was like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very short period of time for that much information. We're talking how many years of figures? I mean, up until Mattel till right now. So for them to throw all that information in a short period of time was amazing. But me and David talked about it. The LJNs was actually supposed to be flexible, and that's something I really didn't know. You guys may have already known that, but they, like I said, it's been a couple weeks since I watched the episode, but they basically explained where it was going to be like some kind of wiring mechanism in them, I believe, to make them bendable, rather than just a basic, what you had in LJN. And I believe the size was actually supposed to be different. But when I think they went on to explain, like, when whoever was, I guess, that approves the okay for it, when they seen these big gigantic He-Man like figures, they're like, oh hell yeah, this is what we're going to go with. And that puzzled me. I was kind of surprised by that. But and then I don't think they gave a shout out too much. I think they sort of, like I said, we're talking about a 45-minute episode. So, but it was such a lull in not having figures. So I'm not a big BCA fan, but and they're ugly figures, I'll be honest with you. I think we can all agree that their figures are probably one of the ugliest figures ever made. But they kind of, if I remember correctly, did they kind of revive the wrestling figures to an extent after Hasbro?
First of all, I'm offended that they completely fucking skipped Just Toys. All right? You didn't even mention the Bendums that were in between when there was a lull, okay? All right, fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Bendums were fucking amazing or nothing like that, but I mean, come on. We did have some figures. They were Bendums, and I was one of the ones buying them, but nonetheless.
Cricket.
You're 1,000% correct, Nick, when you say that there was a lull. There was no figure lines at that point in time. WCW was just starting to kick off as Hogan was in Japan. He left the WWF, and then WCW was starting to poach all the guys, and Vince finally went to Jack's Classics, who was actually headed up by the guys who originally were there. So they went over to Jack, started that, Jack's Pacific. Yes, the BCAs, I think even Jack's understood that a lot of these weren't that good. So that's why they started bringing out the actual scans and stuff like that. But I'm going to say this. Jack's had some of the best fucking accessories. So that's where they made up for their shitty figures, okay? Number one. Number two, their figures were way better to play with than a Hasbro. I think that was the big selling point. Yes, these are ugly, but you can play with them. So, and let's not lie, maybe you and Magic weren't, but several others were passing up Hasbro's and buying those BCAs, and that's why those Hasbro's went in 3 for $10 bins because they were trying to clear us out and get rid of that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the. I think you nailed it when you said that the BCAs and jacks are a lot easier to, play with, because that's all I bought when I was younger was the BCAs and just beat the heck out of them. Because I mean, I agree, they were a lot easier to fight with and this and that.
And
well, I
Magic's
think even in that episode, didn't they say they were just like stringless puppets or something?
Look, we know you're disdain to BCA's, Magic. We get it, but you know what? You can't talk shit about Jacks because you love their classics. You buy the
you're right. And I've said, I think we discussed it before on the prior, but I told you those BCAs turned me off so much that's why I basically never gave Jacks a second chance after that. And now many years back, thanks to Gold, #devil on my shoulder, I did get into some of them, and I think and remember I'm an MOC guy, and the way they display on MOC are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if you take some of them out of the package, they're definitely not. There's a lot to desire, but I mean, to me, there are a lot of Jax figures that are rivaling Mattel now. But the sad part is one, they didn't go over Mattel much in the episode. I guess because they either ran out of time or they figured Mattels are newer. It would have been nice to hear a little bit of discussion about the distribution issues that we're having. And I think the storyline was a bit rushed, but maybe they'll go back to it. But I feel like it should have been more of a 2. I think each one of these episodes should be more like 2 or 3 hours. And I feel like that they kind of sped through certain lines. Like, I really do feel Toy Biz is underrated. And if you look at some of the Toy Biz WCW figures and look at the face scans, look at some of the accessories that came in those lines, you'd understand why Jax was like, fuck, our BCAs suck. Because the Toy Biz was a step up. When I started seeing my friends' WCW figures, when I would take my BCAs over his house, I was jealous. I'm like, fuck, these are nice fucking figures. So
which ones?
The Toy Biz WCW figures.
Oh, yeah. Not the old San Franciscos?
No, not the original San Francisco toy makers now. Those are like, some of them were okay, but when they were talking about how they vibrate and stuff, I'm like, these were terrible. They were bragging about the OSFTM figures, and honestly, most of them are terrible. Most of them are really bad, but they were like a smaller mold of the LJN figures, just not as good as the LJN figures. And they were really bragging about themselves because, oh yeah, Jewish lightning. It's like, dude, your figure sucked, man. You had Galoob, you had the OSFTM WCW, you had the OSTM ECW. I mean, the ECW ones, I like them, I collect them, but at the same token, compared to a BCA or the Toy Biz, your figures suck, bro.
Yeah, my take on and y'all are right. Like they needed more time. But if you had that limited time, I probably wouldn't have gone. I probably would have taken a little bit more out of Origins, because it seemed like they spent a long time on how guys first got into it and this company and that company. And then they're like, oh, crap, we only got a couple minutes left, so we'll just barely talk about every figure line now.
Yeah, and if you want to see some terrible figures, start looking up the Maximum Sweat figures. And the Stomp figures. Oh boy, those are pretty rough. I mean, I'm staring at a Maximum Sweat Triple H right now. Oh my god, it's pretty bad. Even the packaging is pretty bad, like the way they have them looking. But I mean, what Jax was famous for in the BCA lines, for those of us who collect BCAs or have bought them in the past, is they would make a ton of the same figure. See, now, Series 1 and 2 were excellent, right? That's when you had the Owen Harts, the Bret Harts, the Diesels, the Razor Ramones, the Vader, right? Those are great. Those were great lines. The packaging was great. The figures were decent, so on and so forth. Now, the limbs were a little loosey-goosey. I didn't like that. But when you started seeing more of, we're going to bring out hundreds of millions of Stone Colds and Rocks and all those figures. All they did was they made so fucking many, they repackaged them in different packaging.
Yep,
Like,
also part of my hatred for Jax.
Yep, they would go, hey, prime example, they had a Ripped and Roofless, which is a great line. There's 2 series of it. You had Andre the Giant, Mankind, Undertaker, you had Legend series, you had the Ripped and Roofless. They were on these little backer stands. They were really cool, right? Mm-hmm. So what they did was they mass-produced Stone Cold, The Undertaker, and Andre the Giant, right? So they're like, what do we do with all these extra figures? Oh, we got an idea. We get rid of the backer pieces because those are expensive as fuck to make. We're going to take these 3 guys and we're going to throw them in a 3-pack. And we're going to change the packaging. And then it's like people are flocking like, oh, and then when they buy it, they're like, hold the fucking phone. This is the same goddamn figure. It's the same figure. It's like the Braun Strowman.
Right.
They keep making the same fucking Braun Strowman over and over again, but they give him a different accessory. Like one comes with an ambulance door, and the other comes with a fucking violin or guitar or whatever. Fuck. I will give Mattel credit. They don't repackage that much. I'll give them credit there. They might change the paint a little bit at least. Whereas Jax was like, fuck you. It's the same one, but we're putting it in a different package. Like my best friend, one of my best friends outside of these groups, he's a big Mankind mark. He's like, I'm going to own every Mick Foley mock there is. And it's like, he'll buy a Mankind. And I'll go, dude, that's the same BCA as this one, this one, this one, and this one. And he'll go, well, the package is different, so I have to own it. I'm like, son of a bitch.
I can't say anything. That's kind of how I am on certain figures as well.
Yeah, like your Undertaker Hasbro's. But
well, it's like that. I think I told these guys in the admin group the other day, I found out, this new Hogan Pop that's coming out has a different sticker. So now I got to get the different sticker ones.
Okay, that's a little different though, Magic. I got to say, it might be the same figure, but at least they're giving you a limited edition sticker. Whereas Jax is just like, fuck you. We're going to change it and put it in a 4-pack box set. And it's going to be the same figure. And you're going to go, oh. And then they're going to bring a 4-pack out with these fake paper belts. And they're going to be like, buy these because they have these paper belts now.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say – because Hasbro's, I did that. They repackaged the Shawn Michaels. They repackaged Razor Ramon. And I had to get each kind.
Yep, they repainted Yokozuna. They're like, it's the same one. We just repainted
I'm not – like, I don't mind repaints, but – The Shawn, and Razor are the exact same. They're not even repaints.
So, I mean, I think it was a great episode. You're right. It was, both of you gentlemen are correct. It was very rushed. I feel like when he talked about how much money the Hasbro's made, and they talked about how much money the Jax made, we bought a lot of figures, and we were the ones padding their pockets and stuff. And
yeah, one thing that was crazy I didn't know was that Hasbro just said, I'm done with them because business was down a little.
Well, didn't they say Hasbro closed? Like they should.
No.
They didn't. They like shut down that division or something.
Well, they said that because WWE was down and wrestling was down at that time. They said it just wasn't profitable or wasn't enough money for them anymore. So they just let the contract expire. They didn't even try to re-sign.
That's right. You're right. You're 1,000. It was weird. That is correct.
And I guess it wasn't profitable for any company because that was the big lull we hit then.
Yeah, and I mean, look at that series. Like, everyone's so pressed for the Green Series, but look at the wrestlers that they had performing. You had Adam Bomb and Borga, and WCW had the Dungeon of Doom trying to kill Hogan, and it's like wrestling was just terrible then. It was like they were the same shows, but and then you had WCW with the guys you saw in the 80s, and you have WWF with these characters that are all over the place. It's like, and then that's why I don't get people's obsession with the green cards, because they're not that great. And I mean, where were 1, 2, 3 kids' eyebrows? But that's a whole nother question.
Yeah, the green cards are, and there's no way to verify this, but were limited, made because the contract was done already. And though no one really knows, what we do know is a lot of retailers did not get the green cards when they'd got every other set before them.
You could have lied to me because I saw 57 of them in every bin at KB Toys in 2000, 3 for 10.
Right,
So,
but it's like I guess that's part of why Hasbro quit and all is because they said the business was down and they weren't selling. I mean, so I guess I could believe it. Plus,
so
though we
Mattel.
love them now. Go back in time, and the reason I think 1-2-3 Kid is valuable is because he wasn't a big name then, not when they made that figure. And then, so if you have a limited series, they have probably the guy they think's going to sell the least. They probably made less of them. I don't know. So I think that's why the value goes up on him.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing there, but I can assure you there are a lot more green cards all over the place that I can buy on eBay or wherever else than some of the other series. So I agree with you, but I think what happened is we've got another Mattel thing, right? Because you're sitting there wondering why the hell are these Hasbros in bins at KB Toys in the year 2000, right? Isn't that about, would you say, 6.5 years since the last Hasbro hit the shelf? So I think the problem is distribution. Yeah. Like you were just saying, a lot of the stores didn't get them, right? But at the same token, all of a sudden, I'm busy buying Titantron figures, and I'm seeing bins full of green cards. And now I didn't dig in personally, Magic, because that's a long time ago. I can't even remember what was in that bin. That bin has been full of nothing but Evil Crushes or Yokos, for all we know. So
and
it might not even have been 1-2-3 Kids in those bins.
And I wasn't even looking because I was in my pissed off at wrestling figures time frame at that time. So it's hard for me to comment on that because other than like right when they first came out and all that, I kind of checked out from it because of those crappy Jacks that came out.
And I gotta say, I'm a little bit bothered by the fact that they kind of briefly went over the classic Jacks, which is that amazing Ric Flair figure they showed. They completely forgot to mention that Jacks wasn't completely out of the figure game. When they got released from WWE, like when they had a falling out, where do you think Jacks went? They started making TNA figures.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't even go over that. And a lot of these TNA figures are underrated.
And that's and one thing that I loved about that is the only place I've ever seen that Ric Flair. And remember, I'm big into these, and I'm constantly looking over everything all the time. And I've seen a lot of the 1 of 20 employee figures, never that Ric Flair though.
No, that's the first time.
Yeah, when I seen that, I immediately took a picture and sent it to David because I knew he was a Jax guy. And I don't think you had seen it, had you, David?
No. And there's another like 10-pack that I never saw that he showed. It had like Stephanie and Triple H, and then it had Shane and Big Show. It was like the 10-pack from when they wrestled at WrestleMania 2000. You remember that 4-way corners match when all the McMahons were in a corner? I think that was the pack, and it was like a family divided. I still can't find it online. I've been Googling it all week. So I want that damn 10-pack or whatever it is, 2, 4, 8-pack or whatever the fuck it was. I'm gonna have to go back and watch and pause it because I need to find that pack. So, but all right, gentlemen, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take our second break, and when we return, we're gonna go over some news and notes that Magic might have. We're gonna go over. Excuse me, I'm dying over here. We're gonna go over mail days and stuff like that, and we're gonna go over some rapid fire questions that Nate has been given from listeners, and we will return. And we are back, listeners. We're going to start off with an awesome giveaway that we're going to have. And then we're going to get into our mail days that we've had this week. And we'll go from there. What you got for us, Nick?
Yeah, okay, guys. So, of course, we all like free. So if you've stuck around long enough to see what we're giving away. Now's going to be your chance to see what you can win and see how to win it. And what we have for you this go around on this episode is something that it's pretty amazing. If you're a Hasbro guy, it is an absolute must-have, in my opinion. And we've discussed how much we love Hasbro. So once this was released, I think 2 weeks ago, I run out, bought it immediately. But what we got is, I don't know if you're familiar, listeners, with our good buddy Danny Cage from WFigs and HasbroManiacs.com. But the guy does amazing work, and the effort and time must have took for him to get this and make this. It's the Hasbro Maniacs Guide to WWF Hasbros. And this is brand new. I think it came out about 2 weeks ago. And not many people probably have it at the moment because, like I said, it's brand spanking new. I was the first person to actually purchase it. And Danny was nice enough to donate one to the podcast strictly for you listeners to win. So just browsing through the book, and you also get a poster with it. So let me throw that in there. You'll get the book, and you'll get the and a poster. And I'll have the picture posted up on the Facebook group, so you'll see what you can see what it looks like, see the poster you'll get. But just if you're not familiar with the guys, it lists every single Hasbro that's ever been made. It's got pictures of them loose, pictures of them on card. Like I said, I'm browsing through it right now, and it's just, and I will tell you, once you get this book, this guide rather, it's going to give you that, I know y'all have heard Zack Ryder and them say something about scratching that figure itch. Well, guys, this right here it's gonna do it to you. I told David the other day when I was going through this book that, unfortunately, this is going to hurt my wallet because I'm going to have to start going and trying to finish out this Hasbro mock collection. And like I said, just browse through it right now. It goes into detail on all your mail-aways, your prototypes, your two-ups. It also even lists, and this is not, I don't think it's ever been confirmed, but I know we just discussed about Series 11 being the last series in the Hasbro line. Well, this gives you a sneak peek at what Series 12 could have possibly looked like. There's been sketches that I think surfaced on the internet of, the Series 12, what it would have been. Well, you got it right here. It shows you pictures of, a little sample of what they would have looked like, what the cards would have looked like. So you get that if you get this guide. Just amazing guide, guys, and it can be yours for free. Highly recommended for any Hasbro collector. It's definitely a must, and I want to thank Danny Cage and Hasbro Maniacs for donating it to us. And the way you can win it, we're going to go to the original way. I know we done a Macho Man last time, but this time we're going to go back to just sending a little password out. All you got to do is you got to PM myself, Nate Maxson, John Majewski, David Gold. Send us a PM, and all you got to say is, let's go with Cage Hasbro Guide. So all you got to do is send us a little personal message simply saying Cage Hasbro Guide. We're going to enter you into the event. We'll toss your name in the randomizer, and one lucky person will get this brand new 52-page Hasbro Maniacs Guide and a poster courtesy of Danny Cage. Again, thank you, Danny, for donating that to the podcast, and somebody's going to get lucky and win it. So that's how you do it. Cage Hasbro Guide, shoot PM, simply saying that, and you'll be entered. So there you go. Good luck. And, there you go.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome guide. I haven't gotten mine just yet. But I'm pretty sure once I get it back, I'm going to go, oh, Lord, here we go. And I'm going to start getting Hasbros again.
It is, man. It is. I'm telling you, it's good. Just be prepared.
Yeah. So I'm sure I'll be
I got the first one he did, and that's actually how I completed my Lucy and MOC because on those lists it has every variant, and obviously not like a Moonbelly Kamala, whatever, not those, but I mean, as far as my collection goes, at least, but every variant, as in, Series 10 that has a white Pants Michael and a black Pants Michael, or a purple Razor and the black Razor, as far as the color of the vest and stuff,
Yeah. And you mentioned the first guide, which is amazing, but this new one, it's double the pages, actually a little more than double. Like I said, the first one I think was 24. This new guide is the extended edition, is what they're calling it. You get 52 pages, so definitely amazing guide.
All righty, gentlemen. So we have ourselves an awesome giveaway, as always, doing things big on the Asylum Wrestling Podcast. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to a segment we would call Mail Day, or what was on your doorstep, or anything catchy you can think of. And we're going to kind of discuss what we've gotten in the mail this week. We're going to start with Magic because he probably got the most, and he probably received another Taker with Cloak this week. So I'm kind of, spoiler alert, giving that one away. I bet he got 2 or 3 of them, actually, to add to his ever-growing Undertaker 52 collection. So, Magic, what has been your mail days this week? Or actually last 2 weeks, considering since it's been 2 weeks since we had our last show.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of maybe us alternating, going around. That way it breaks up the monotony of listening to me. But first I'm going to start with, y'all have heard me talk about it last couple shows. I'm trying to complete that Loyal Subject WWE line. So I had quite a bit come in this week, or the last couple weeks for that. I'm going to go real quick just over what I got for those. I got the all-black Taker. I'd had the one that had like the little emblem on his chest. Now I have the one that's just all black. I'm sorry, not the... It's all black. It was a special San Diego Comic-Con one. So it doesn't look just like the normal one. It's just completely black, his face and everything. Let's see. And then I also got... They have 3 2-packs for the Loyal Subjects that I got. There's Cena, Taker, Brock and Roman, and AJ and Shinsuke. Got all of those. There's a Roman Reigns, and where it's normal white on his gear is now red. I got that. None of these are big purchases. Just trying to complete that. The other thing I got, now this one was a little bigger. It's kind of cool. San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. John Cena in the all green, all blue, or You Can't See Me Clear. And it's just the John Cena figure, but it's almost like marble. You see the whole thing just through it. Let's see, what else did I have Loyal Subject? Sticking on John Cena, I got an orange John Cena Loyal Subject. And I think that's it. Oh, okay, now here's my one big one for those Loyal Subjects. I got a Club 28 blue shirt ref. And if you don't know what the Club 28 in Loyal Subject means, that means they only made 28 of those worldwide. And I was able to get my hands on one of those. Got it for a good price. So that's all I got. Just double checking to make sure on the Loyal Subjects. If y'all want to jump in with something else, that's good for my Loyal Subjects, and I'll go to the rest on my list here in a second.
Let's see. What did I get this week? I got a Ultimate Warrior Motu with the foreign sticker because for whatever reason, now I'm obsessed with having them in English and in foreign. So I want to have, but I also want to have 3. I want to have 1 foreign, 1 English, and 1 to open. That's why I sound like that commercial on Saturday Night Live. You got to have 3. Let's see. I got in something I showed Magic that he keeps telling me to give him for free. I got in another rocker set.
Now, I offered a trade.
He offered me Hasbro rockers or the Legend rockers that are crispy mint in the original Legend box, and this dude offers me 2 rocker Hasbros. Like, no sir. I got in the WCW Toy Biz packages. I got the ones like where they're kind of dressed up like movie character themes. There's one with Bret Hart, and he looks like he's like a detective. I got in Bam Bam Bigelow on card for WCW. I got in another Raven on card that I'm going to sell because I already had him signed. And I got in an Undisputed Era 3-pack with the cardboard on it because I had the Canadian version, apparently. So I have an extra set to sell because I don't want the one without the cardboard piece on the front. Yes, I'm weird like that. And,
nothing wrong with that.
And it's my fault that Magic keeps having to buy all the ones he bought from Canada because it didn't say collector's edition on them, and he's like, "Fuck! All right."
At least he's finally starting to admit it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just told you the truth. It's a fact. With the ones from Canada are more mass-produced, but they don't say collector's edition on them. So now that's not the case for the Ono, apparently, because the Ono has collector's edition, which I'm like, okay. So that's it for me this week. Nick, what did you have?
Well, I got a few items. I had a fellow member of our Facebook group, Juan Rosario. He dropped into my DMs probably about 2 weeks ago and was asking if I knew anybody that was interested in this item. And so he sends me a picture of it. And most of you guys probably know I'm a big Sting mark. So I get the picture. I'm like, what is the item? Well, he sends me this boot. It's a signed, certified boot by Sting. And, I'm thinking it's going to be an outrageous price. So I'm like, well, I'll look around. Let me know what you want for it. So he sends me the price. I won't say it here, but I'm like, yeah, you don't have to look any further. Just send it right here. So send him a payment, got the signed Sting boot. Got it proudly right here in the middle of my collection. Got it in the mail a couple days ago. I started to do a live unboxing for it, but I didn't. But I also got, let's see, as I'm looking around and stuff, I picked up from Ringside Collectibles the Elite Series 75 Pete Dunne and the Hurricane that arrived this week. Real nice figures. Very, very nice. And let's see, I had the wife. She would be mad if I didn't mention this. So our local Walmarts rarely get anything. So when we get Elites, we kind of freak out around here. But so she's shopping like she always does. And sends me a picture of a complete Series 73 set, and it's already in the buggy. So, of course, I bought the whole series right there. I already had an Aleister Black, so this makes my second Aleister Black. So I got the complete Series 73 Elites. Let's see, what else did I get? I made a trip up to Roanoke, Virginia, to one of our collector stores and bought me a Defining Moments Ricky Steamboat. And I actually got it at a pretty good price. I think I paid like $40 for it, which in my opinion is pretty good. So I was very proud to get that and add it to the collection. And one of the items that I was most excited about getting in the mail, I'd been working on it. Me and a fellow member of the group had been working on it probably for a few months now. And both of you guys know him. Some of the listeners may know him, but Rocky Turner made I sent him a retro ring. So if you know Rocky, he's an amazing, does cards, does rings, amazing work. So me and him got together and actually made the Asylum Wrestling retro ring, and he nailed it. He knocked it out of the park. I mean, it goes down. He's got stickers of me and you, David. Y'all seen pictures of it. And I think he's even somehow added a glory hole sticker on it. And I think you got a kick out of that, didn't you, David?
Yeah, and not to steal your thunder, but I'm shipping him a ring on Monday. I had no stealing or offense intended, but I have to have one. So it's that freaking.
No, I urge any of you listeners and members of the page to get an Asylum ring made. And I mean, if you just look on our Facebook group and see the pictures, he done an absolutely amazing job. I don't think it could have gotten any better. So shout out to him. Like I said, I've probably my most exciting item that I got this week, and we've been working on it for a couple months now, and just amazing work. So that's probably the biggest item I got. I'm sure I missed something that I can't think of. I did go out last night to the local Walmart, and I missed the anvil, and I missed some other figures in that series. What is it, 74? But I did pick up a Natalia, and surprisingly, I ended up buying this Finn Balor, the new Series 74 Finn Balor. I thought it was a pretty amazing figure looking at it. So I picked up those last night, and that may round me out. I'll send it over to Magic because I know he's probably like you said, got a lot more than we did. So you can have at it, Magic, and finish up what you got.
And real fast, hang on, sorry, Magic. Real fast, speaking of devils on your shoulders, I'm actually mailing him a retro ring in a box. And he's going to actually put art on the physical box. So, Nick, I guess you're going to need to prepare your wallet because he's kind of going to do a whole Asylum theme on the entire box itself. So, you're going to need to buy the box.
Oh, God.
Because once
And the devil strikes again.
Fuck, I need that. I think what we're going to do is we're going to put, like, the executive room, and then it's going to have, like, different rooms on the box. And it's going to have, like, the glory hole room. It's going to have the poker room. You're going to be like, fuck, I need that box now.
What I wanted to do, what I really wanted to do, and I may still get with Rocky about this, and most of you listeners know that we do a lot of free giveaways on our Facebook group, and I really wanted to get one of these made and actually give it to a member on a free giveaway. I haven't got with Rocky about that, but that may be something that'll come in the near future. But so be on the lookout for that.
Sorry, Magic. Just wanted to add that in. Go on ahead, sir.
Nothing wrong. Okay, guys, I still got a couple more items here. So I've been big ever since hashtag Gold's Fault got me into the elites. Been going back trying to get some of those. A lot of them I like are kind of just like the classic superstars, the ringside exclusives. So I picked up the Flashback HBK, the one in red and white, because I loved it. It's a lot like the Hasbro. Kind of hit me home there, so I liked it.
That's the one that comes with the glasses, right?
Right.
They kind of remade him in the other Flashback Build-A-Fig series, too. I love that figure. Great figure.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's like I said, it's kind of an ode to probably the Hasbro one, too, so that's probably why I like it. Also got in one of our fellow admins, Mr. Morlock. I got a Champa in one of his claim cells.
Is that the one with the crutch or the original?
Now they all have the crutch.
Okay, but it's not as Hall of Champions one. It's his
no.
one, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. It's the one with the crutch. Now there is a packaging variant, and I was able to get both. One has the knee brace on. The other variant, it's off to the side with the crutch. So if you're like me and a dork for completeness, there's a packaging variant. I was able to get both. That's part of that what I grabbed him for. I got myself another Super Punch Roman Reigns Retro Series 1 MOC.
I fucking hate you. I've got one, but it's Super Punch. Oh, I hate you.
Yeah, this is another Super Punch. I do have a Superman, but this was Super Punch, and it was just such a great price I couldn't pass on it.
I had one of those, and I made the mistake, and I ended up selling it because you know how they put the sticker over top of it? Mm-hmm. Because they were lazy on the original version, and then they re-released it. But the original, I was one of those ones that tried to peel the sticker off.
Oh, yeah.
Fucked that package all up. That's
yeah. Yeah, I have a Cena right now that has a sticker over the spelling error one, and I've been flirting with trying to take it off.
It's so difficult. Good luck. I mean, some people have done it, and maybe because of my fat thumbs or whatever, and I got too anxious, I ripped it or whatever. But when I pulled that sucker, the card came with it.
Let's see what else. I got a graded 85 Series 8 Mr. Perfect Hasbro. Got that in an event on another page. I'm not a big graded guy, so if you're interested in that or whatever, you probably see that one being posted. This next one is a shout out to one of our great members and listeners, Josh Blevins. I got a dual language Jake the Snake card off him. I know Nick's brought it up before. I'm a huge dual language fan on the Hasbros. That collection's getting pretty big. But the other thing that Josh Blevins did, 100% free and just out of the goodness of his heart, so here's my shout out and thank you very much, Blevins. He sent me a magnet of our logo, the Asylum. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, not to interrupt you again, but he did send... I do apologize. He did send me that, and he also sent me 3 magnets of the GOAT, $1 Million Man. So, shout out to Blevins as well from my end, because the magnets are fucking awesome. And we did have an event for him. Magic put it up for us, where you could pick one. If you love magnets or magnet cards, get with Blevins. They're pretty fucking awesome. So
yeah, he does real good. He can do any magnet you want, but he does these special Hasbro theme ones. And guys, look him up right now because he's actually on a side note. I know he shared it with the page, so he wouldn't mind me talking about it here. He's going through a little hard time. He's a strictly commission guy where he works. So if he's not working, he's not making any money. And he tore a muscle in his calf. And I'm sure y'all all know because we call him the Repo Man. He's a tow truck driver, so he cannot work at all. So he's not making any money. So if you can, hit him up and see if maybe he's got a magnet or something for you. Maybe help him out a little in that way and get something out of it. But guys, he is good. He and he'll probably hate me for saying this. He tries to play mean old guy on some of these stuff, and he's funny with his Hogan hate, whatever. But just like sending us all those magnets, guys, he just did that to be kind to us. So he is a good dude. If you can give him a little business and help him out while he's injured and can't work, that would be great.
Also, not to interrupt you, but since we're on the topic, and I apologize if y'all touched, that we're talking about Josh. He also makes, because I got a slew of them from him, those like figure stands, those custom figure stands.
Definitely.
And they're amazing. I don't know how he does it, but it's very tedious work. It seems it would be. And he does an amazing job on that. So
he does.
I agree with both of you guys.
Yeah, he even does them. I know he's done certain like college football teams or pro football teams. So it doesn't even have to be wrestling related. If you're a fan of anything and you like magnets and he's pretty good with his designs and stuff. So hit him up. Let's see. My next item. Okay, so this isn't. I shared this with the guys too, and it's kind of one that I was happy to get. It's not like it's anything super valuable. But this is the Hollywood Hulk Hogan Monday Nitro limited edition set MOC. And the reason that I was excited is because, I don't know if y'all know, those are almost like the LJN figures. So they're really heavy. So to get one still on the card is pretty... I guess now you could say it's pretty rare because they're so heavy they pop those bubbles off.
Are you ready for the devil on your shoulder?
Oh, boy.
I'm just saying, have you seen the William Regal 2-pack?
No.
Why'd you say it like that? you're like, no.
Let me hear about it.
Oh, I'm sending it to you right now so you can look at
son of a gun. Guys, this is the devil in action.
This is probably one of the best 2-packs OSFTM did, and when you see it, I think you'll agree.
All right, guys, he just sent it to me in our group message. I'm looking at it right now. Gold.
It's a great fucking 2-pack. The Blue Bloods.
Guys, this is gold. Anyways, guys,
look at that too. Don't tell me that isn't fucking awesome, though.
I'm gonna continue on, so hopefully I forget about it. Gold.
It's not that expensive, though.
The producer's gonna interject for a minute. I am Earl of Robert eating that up.
That's one of his only figures too, Nate. Right? Am I right?
Yeah, there are not many Bobby Eaton figures.
That's what I'm saying.
Guys,
Gotta
Gold,
get that 2-pack.
y'all don't understand. So right now, currently, and just a little behind the scenes with me and Gold, he's now got me on a whole bunch of Owen Harts that I'm trying to find. He's because I told him I'm a big Owen Hart fan. He's also got me on all those stupid Hurricane and Rosie figures. And now he's trying to add more. Guys, this is what I'm saying. Do not become friends with Gold. He is a bad influence. He will be that devil on your shoulder. If you don't believe me, guys, ask any of the admins. Reach out and ask our good buddy Mike Zecca. See what he tells you. All right, so I'm going to continue on. I got a Series 73 Black from Walmart. Alistair Black. I finally found that after probably dropping 5 times its amount in a whole bunch of different events on our page that everyone but me won. But I found one in store, so that was good. Here's one of my favorite retros. I was able to hunt down another. This is a Ric Flair MOC. That thing has gotten hot lately. The price is going through the roof on it. And I was able to get one at a really good deal. I got myself another Ultimate Warrior Series 1 Hasbro MOC. Was pumped for that. Just any of the Series 1 I'm a big fan of. And then Warrior, Hogan, Macho even more so. Here's the David Gold special. Guys, here it comes. I got another Series 8 Undertaker with coat.
Of course.
Loose, not on card.
54. He's got 54 now, and I just sent you another 2-pack that you're going to need to buy. So.
And I'm not looking at my phone. And I also got a original collector's edition Pete Dunne Series 64 in.
Nice.
These guys are pretty cool. Not very limited, but still not that super valuable. But there was a couple in this group, so I ended up getting a William Regal, Test, Ric Flair, and Rey Mysterio 1 of 500 Ruthless Aggression figure. And I just got them all. The Flair and the Rey is what I was really interested in, and then Regal, cool, Test, cool. But they are very limited. They're only 1 of 500, but they're still not that high right now. So if that's something that interests you, you might look at them. You can get them decent price.
Now he'll need the entire Mattel series ones that come with the belts, with the giant belts.
And then my last item, won this from one of our members, Pete Beslick. I got a Thunder Lips MOC. It actually came with a Drago too, but I stick this to wrestling. It's actually an MOC I've been looking for a while. This was that when they did the reissue of all the Rocky figures. It's a pretty cool figure. I've had it loose, but now I have it MOC also. That Thunder Lips is pretty cool. It also it's from the Rocky series, and it's got the date and everything on there. It's a pretty cool card. I like it a lot. And it's actually. Yeah, and it's picking up some value as well. And that's
the same movie Mr. T happened to be in. Kind of worked out for both of them that way.
Yeah, and here's just for me, the Rocky series are like kind of my favorite movies. And that one, not only was Hulk Hogan in it, came out the same year I was born. So that's kind of my insight to that. But that's the end of my list.
3 hours later in my SpongeBob voice.
Oh my God, Gold! I've seen that and I need it.
What?
I've just seen,
yeah.
yes, the NWO Hogan and Macho.
I was just talking shit about OSFTM, but to be fucking honest, some of these packaging is awesome. Not even.
So guys, there's a 2-pack. It's NWO Black and White, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, WCW Tag Team Wrestlers. The funny thing about this, Gold, and tell me because I don't know, the picture. They're in red and yellow and like normal, but the actual figures are black and white. Do they also have this in the normal?
They do, only in single packs.
Oh, okay. So they don't have a 2-pack, not NWO.
Nope. They released that Hogan and that Macho Man in single packs, but they did not release them in a tag pack.
Woo, 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 woo.
I think the problem is that they just turned NWO.
Mm-hmm.
and I guess this is where San Francisco toy makers decided, fuck it, we already did the printing of the backer. Let's just throw the black and white figures in.
Right.
And of course, I'm sure you already know that the Nasty Boys are also on these cards, and they come in 3 different colors. So I'm sure you know that too.
Oh yeah.
So, yep. And I'm sure because now you're getting kind of obsessed, you're probably going to end up buying the ring as well. So.
Boy, I'm not looking it up right now.
And Harlem Heat comes in 2 colors. They have red and black, and so it's like there's a lot more than you think. But,
well, the funny thing is, I don't know if. What did you send me? Where did you get this picture?
That one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it popped up when I looked up the Blue Bloods. So
something I've got to look, and I can't remember if I told y'all how I got that Monday Nitro one earlier on. That's kind of the same figure, but I think it has like the black stubble, but it has like a yellow handlebar mustache. And the one you sent me, look, there's no stubble. So I'm curious. Now I've got to go look again.
Yeah, and there's also 4 different flares, and then there's a 5th rare flare that came on a Nitro card, where it says where the baddest guy, and then there's 4 4-packs as well. So they came up, they pulled a Jax on you. Yeah.
Oh, they sure did.
I'm gonna send you the one that they did as the single pack real quick, because this is the one you were just asking about. That's the one they put on the backer card that was going to be released on the 2-pack, but they figured, screw it, we already have the picture, we're just going to do the black and white. So that's the Macho Man that matches the, sorry, now you got to buy that one too, right? But anyways, this isn't my fault. I'm just showing you good figures, okay?
Guys, this is very much his fault.
But they brought a Hogan out like this too, same picture, and he's in his red and yellow attire. I'll show it to you. But hey, Nate, did you want to shoot some of the questions at us?
I do. Listeners, you've heard of Mean Gene. I'm going to go by Great Nate here. And ask questions
of
our hosts here on the Asylum Wrestling Podcast. I picked a few of the greatest questions we had this week. Multiple questions sent in. But I want to ask this one here from Brian McGraw. And the question is, do you think AEW went too far with the lashing for Cody Rhodes? Fans attack MJF. Afterwards, he says there were children in attendance, and seeing that level of violence makes me not want to watch wrestling again. What do you guys think of that angle?
I don't want to sound rude by any stretch of the imagination, but that was nothing compared to some of the stuff we saw in the 90s. But
I agree.
I don't think they went far at all. I think the storyline fits. I mean, if you think about kids being in the audience, Mankind had his kids in the audience when he took 12 chair shots handcuffed. So, I mean, I think it leads to it. And I also think that if anybody takes their children, unfortunately, to a something like that, that's what's going to end up happening, unfortunately. You know what I mean? You're going to see things that maybe you didn't want them to see. And AEW is supposed to be more cutting edge. I think that's the whole reason what Cody's doing. So I don't think it went too far. I'm sorry he feels that way, and hopefully he sticks with it. But you're going to see a lot of storylines like that in the AEW. But,
yeah, I don't think it went too far. I thought it was good. Newsflash, don't want to kill anyone's dream here. The fan attacking was a work. That's not real. One, you can tell by the way the strikes are. Two, I've even seen some stuff now where people are saying it was, what's his name, Kazarian. Like he still has his gear on underneath and it comes out. So I don't think the fan attack was real. I think that's part of the show, part of the work. But I liked it. I think Cody did great. I even think Brandy did great. I think it added a lot to it. I don't think it was too far by any means.
And I agree with you guys. I think, and if you listen to the We Can't Wrestle podcast, you'll know my opinion. I think that the best stuff that is in AEW right now has to do with Cody and MJF, because it is wrestling angles. It's what wrestling is. It's what wrestling was. It's what we love about wrestling. And you know that aspect of realism or violence. I mean, you're talking about pro wrestling. If violence is a problem, then you probably shouldn't be watching wrestling. I'm just saying.
That's a good point.
So our next question comes from Andrew Palmer, who always has good stuff to say. When you think of your members in the Asylum, who comes to mind posing like HBK belt only in Playgirl?
I love this question.
Wait, what? Can you repeat that? Who comes
Say this
to
again,
mind?
Yes.
Gold.
When you think of members, your members, not you guys, your members in the Asylum, who comes to mind posing like HBK belt only in Playgirl?
All right. So I'll answer this quick. I got a couple guys. Just jump off the page at me. If you're not immediately thinking of these guys, I think you're just fooling yourself. First, Archie Mitchell. No problem.
That was my first thought.
I
That was
see
my
him.
first
You have the
thought.
proof
see
in
him
the hair
win
going
that. Yes. Number two, we talked about him earlier, Josh Blevins. And the reason I say that is because Josh Blevins actually, as y'all know, had won a Champion of the Month. He told me he was going to reenact that photo wearing his Asylum Championship belt. And
Now I got to get it rushed.
yes. And now that I got both those out of the way, to throw one more in there, I would probably I could see any of the Ashtons doing this as well. And I say any as in either the brothers or Mrs. or any of them. I could see this. I could see them pulling that off and doing it classy and with great artistic ability.
I have to say we have to mention the guy that actually asked the question. Wasn't he the one that literally done a video of him in a shower and posted it on the page? Wasn't that Andrew?
That is a good point, Nick.
So I mean, I would say he would be one for that.
Andrew, you
I'd
opened
say
yourself
Jay
up for that one.
Masters would be good for that because he kind of did one where he was in a towel promo. Speaking of members, I mean, yeah, I could see Archie just naked on a bear rug. I really could.
Don't lie, Gold. You probably have.
I was going to say, as long as you have not seen that, we're okay.
And guys,
thank goodness, because I'd probably be blind, but I'm good right now.
With the dove cry, with the dove laugh going on, I would be.
I could see John Martin Jr. doing it with "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" playing in the background. I could see that.
Yes.
guys, how can we leave out the original Cutie doing this?
I could see him doing it in his flare robe only. Yep, I could see that. But I definitely, I could see John Martin doing it, but then he'd forget the belt.
Can I say if we have any new listeners, because we're now on YouTube and Spotify, so if you're not a member of this page, just listen to the fun we're having about these members. I mean, so don't be alarmed if you're new and joining the page of what you see posted.
Definitely.
I mean, we have a lot of members that I could see. I mean, I could totally see doing just some really raunchy stuff with it.
Yes.
But, yeah. Anyways, what did you have for us next, Nate? We can go on out.
And applaud Mr. Palmer for that question.
Fantastic question, AP.
Good question.
The last one that I have, and he cheated to get in, but it's Archie. So Archie commented he didn't PM me, but he's going to be a belligerent fuck anyway. All right, so Archie says, if John Majewski is a microwave, does that make Gold and Francis a blender and toaster?
Ooh, good question. So my answer would be, obviously, I'm the microwave. Gold, no, I think both of them are different. When I think Gold, I think that he would probably be, be the oven. He would be the whole oven. He would actually spend the time where I'm just trying to get through it real quick and eat it. He would do the actual whole cooking of it. And then when I think Nick, I think he would be more of a refrigerator. And the reason I say that is because he's holding all those belts, but none of them are for him. They're for anyone who comes and takes it out and enjoys them. So that's my take on appliances and why.
I was going to say that I would say that Z-Man would be like, David is definitely the fucking stove.
I was thinking that.
Just because I've taken some pictures on my fucking stove. Look, it has a black surface, okay, with silver outlining. So I'm like, hey, this would make a great fucking picture. But yes, I should have zoomed in or cropped it to where you didn't see that. It looked like I was about to cook it. So yeah, and I would agree with Nick being the fridge, or I would have said the actual physical cupboard. Because, like you were saying, you open the cupboard up and just take the belts out. So, I mean, yeah.
Right. I was trying to stick to appliances.
I can't answer anything better than what you guys just did. But was that your last question, Nate?
Yes, it was. I picked 3 this week, so we will do this again and see how many amazing questions we get next time around.
And guys, remember Well, just remember, all I was going to say is remember, this is the first time me, Gold, or Nick is hearing these questions. This is popped on us right away from Nate. So this is not something we rehearsed, discussed what the best answer is. You're getting our real raw answers. So that's why I like it. So please keep those questions coming to Nate so we can have more fun with this segment.
I was actually going to say, and I don't know why they didn't send it to Nate, but I don't know if I'm going to go back to the first episode. I don't know if y'all remember the mystery listener, but the mystery listener actually sent me a question to ask, and it's for John Majeski. And this is from the mystery listener. Mm-hmm. And they want, if you don't mind, they want to know what is the biggest lie that you have ever told your wife on a John Majeski mail day? And it's from the mystery listener.
Okay, so here, and I've never in my life lied to my wife.
That's a lie, and it's go
on. But here is what I have had to do before is massage the truth, guys, and mystery listener here. Here's the thing. She might be listening to this podcast. This isn't public realm. This is open to anyone. Hit me up in the DMs. Guys, I gotta whisper for this. I've got tons of sneaky secrets and techniques. Hit me up in the DMs and I'll help you guys out. But I can't do that here. Anyone can listen to this. But anyways, that's my answer.
These are for you, honey, is the biggest lie. They're all yours.
It's kind of like
opening bitches up. What? You got me a Hulk Hogan. What is this shit?
It's I don't know if y'all watch The Simpsons at all. It's a lot like the episode where Homer gets Marge a bowling ball that has the name Homer on it.
Yeah. Poor Homer. I mean, come on. He tried, right?
Look what I got you, baby.
Or when the episode when he thought they were getting a divorce because she left him some hot dogs in the sink thawing, he's like, "Oh my god!"
When my wife and I first started dating, and I had to introduce her to my insane wrestling fandom, she got hooked on Kane and Undertaker. So now every time I buy anything Kane or Undertaker, I'm like, "Look, babe, this is your part of my collection." So yeah, totally relate.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
All Magic has to do is buy her the Hulk Hogan blender and be like, "Look, babe, look what I got you."
Thunder mixer.
Let's make some pasta. Look, I got you a waffle maker, honey, and it says wrestling on it. Shit. these boxes are for you. She's like, that says WWE. No, you're misreading that. And he marks it out. It says Victoria's Secret, honey. Look.
And then remember this, like, well, I guess since you don't like it, I'll keep it.
Oh, you don't like these? This Undertaker with cloak? And then she looks. You have 52 of those already.
So here's the Nick. Your wife maybe seems like she's at least halfway into wrestling. My wife is not at all. She is gone. She's gone to wrestling shows with me. She'll watch sometimes big events just because I am, but she's not into it. Like, she is good. Like, her favorite is Macho Man because I sit there and I will literally, I'm talking like an hour at a time, pull up promos and make her watch it of him, of Ric Flair, of all that. So there's no trying to get around that. Like, Nate was like, oh, look, baby, here's your Undertaker and Kane. There's no way I can pull that off.
Usually I have to just say, imagine what you can sell this stuff for when, if I was to die. But I won't literally give her the price because that may be sooner than later. But usually that's just what I tell her.
Nick, policy or figures?
Yeah, Nick, I use that. Nick, I use that all the time. Like, my collection, if I croak, is going to be worth so much money to you guys.
Your wife is magic. Your wife is like, this house is like fucking Groundhog's Day. Every day it's a fucking taker.
My
same one every day.
I will say so. I do get in trouble for too much room being taken up, and I'm constantly on project to try to clear out some room. I'm not good at that project though, so it's a work in progress.
I've seen the physically beds covered with action figures, and I'm not talking shit because if you saw my basement and that room right now, I can't judge anyone. But I've seen the bedroom, Magic will take a photo, and I'm like, is that where y'all sleep? Because they're all on the bed, so I'm assuming that's a guest room or supposed to be a guest room.
It's a guest room, and the guests are all action figures.
Yeah, you're like. You have a guest come over and they're like, oh, I can sleep here. Oh, hell no. That's where the fucking figures go. You're sleeping on the couch, bitch. Don't you fucking dare. And they're like, man, there's a lot of... I didn't know your guest was 57 Undertakers. Fuck.
Yeah, so he is right. I have like all my Lucy's, the complete loose Hasbro, the complete loose retro set laid out because I've been fighting with myself. And guys, if you have any suggestions, go ahead, send them to me. I'm not sure how I want to display them yet. I got a couple ideas. Should I just put it on shelf? I saw some really cool where people use shadow box for baseball bats. But the thing is that gets expensive quick because you're going to need a bunch of them. And even on sale, you're looking at $40 to $50 a piece. So I'm stuck. I don't quite know how I want to display them yet. So right now they're all just laying in the bed.
I'm going to send you a picture right now of how I really would love to display them if I was a loose collector.
Are you talking about the risers? Is that what you're going to send him? Because you
no,
it's actually risers, Magic. They're pretty cool. Oh, these are the boxes he's talking about. Yeah, those are fucking expensive though. Well, actually, no, these boxes aren't that. These are the card boxes, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, these aren't.
How
that
much
expensive.
do those run?
They're not that much. Couple bucks.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, I bought the two that I got. I paid like $3 a piece for.
Yeah.
So you're probably still looking like with tax and shipping $300 for all of them.
I mean, but look at that. I would spend $300 on that.
No, you're right. It does look.
But how
good.
the hell did they get them on the? Is that? Oh, that's a shelf. That's a wall shelf. Okay, all right. I was gonna say, how did he get them mounted on the wall like that? But I can see it has a little shelf right there. Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess he left the little blue Ultra Pro piece card in there for the blank ones he's missing. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I mean, he's got them in order. He or she, whoever's collection this is.
Except, see, looking at this photo, if our listeners could see it right now, this whole thing would be nothing but Undertakers with clothes.
So what's that? The only two he's missing is the other Melloways. Is that what that is?
That's what it looks like.
This was actually. Do you? I know Magic. You listen to the Wrestling Figure podcast. You've heard him mention David C. Anderson a couple times.
Oh yeah.
He actually sent me this, and he was going to sell me a bunch of them, as far as just the boxes when I had some loose, because I was going to do my retros like this, and this is what he sent me at how he has looked before he sold all of them.
I'm just wondering
So you
why they
like
turned Doink to the side like that. It's a little weird, but I don't know. I'm kind of iffy. I'm weird about stuff like that. Is that Brett in a bag, or because I can't really tell in the end?
No, it's not.
So, but that's the Melloway, but it's the same as getting him in with the Purple Heart. So it's not really a Melloway without the bag. So
Correct. But I do. Now I have them all in bag and loose as well, and I keep a Purple Heart for this series. What is it, 4 that he's in? I keep a loose for that, and I keep a loose for the Melloway just to make it like complete.
right. No, I got you. That makes total sense.
But like I said, I'm the dude who gets every variant and everything, so that's the only reason I do that. But I mean, that is sharp.
That's nice. I like that. Yeah. So that's our thoughts there, and you gentlemen have anything else for our listeners? Any tidbits, or I mean, I know we got some news. We got some. I'm sure everyone's scalping the shelves right now, scouring them, looking for anvils and paste and rings and.
Yeah, I have yet to find any.
I missed out on.
The producer keeps butting in on this show, David, but I do
That's
have
great.
I do have one thought, and that is as far as the toys that made us, the wrestling edition. Could a motherfucker get Jewish Thunder a lint roller, please?
Yeah.
That guy's got like cat hair, dandruff, piece of cheese, something on his shirt. But anyway,
I think that was what they were trying to do to make it look like nerds eat chips or whatever and get food all over their shirt.
I agree.
I'm so excited off these figures. I got chips all over me. You know, it's funny.
Yeah, I agree. Because then, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles version, you know, the one co-creator looks like, I don't know, he's kind of pathetic, but they just make him look like gold. And then in the wrestling figure, not David Gold. Sorry, not David Gold.
I was about to pull the episode up. Like,
Did you hear that?
Guy really sexy or something?
Did you hear that? He just goes, he looked really pathetic. They made him look like gold.
I'm like, hold on a minute. Let me pull this up. Is this dude really attractive or what?
Oh, that might have been the best mate comment ever.
And unfucking intentional. But anyway, but yeah, you're right. I think they tried to make him look pathetic, but I've never, when I was watching that, I even made my wife look up from her phone because she didn't give a shit, you know. But I even made her look up from her phone, like, am I seeing crap on his shirt that doesn't exist, or do they just not care? But anyway.
That was very
Did the
similar.
dude have to say Jewish lightning every 2 seconds, too?
He
Like,
was
he
proud
was.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the savior of figures. He's like, Jewish lightning came in. Like, dude, you didn't... First of all, you didn't get the Hasbro.
No, that was just his wrestling name. He was
I
being
get it,
cool.
but it's like, dude, like, he acted like he saved figures. He's like, well, if it wasn't for us, there'd be no Hasbros.
Yeah,
like,
they should have called him Jock Sniffin' Lightning. It was terrible.
Or the dude that rode Hogan's asshole hairs. You know?
Right.
He's like,
Hey, guys.
Hogan fucked it up. He didn't like the prototype. Hogan did not like. Well, I mean, he's Hogan. He's going to tell you what he does and doesn't like. The biggest mistake Hogan made in his life, and he admits it, is he fucking went with the spaghetti maker instead of the fucking grill, because he'd be a billionaire right now.
So real quick, guys, we're not going to do a full-on news segment, but there's something I wanted to talk about, get y'all's take on it. So I'm going to wrap it all into one because they're all kind of tied together. So if y'all keep up with WWE stock at all, you'll notice that the company has lost $1 billion over the last couple weeks. And it was all triggered because they fired a couple big wigs, I think like a president, CEO type thing. So in the financials came out. It actually wasn't that bad. But Vince McMahon has made some interesting comments about selling the streaming rights to someone. So that has triggered a lot in the news. And now there's talks that maybe Amazon wants to buy the WWE network and even maybe position themselves to buy the WWE completely. What do y'all think about that?
I do see Vince pulling some bullshit where he takes the pay-per-views off because he's seeing that AEW and NJPW and shit are still charging $49.99 a pay-per-view. I think it's going to fuck them over, but a lot of us who get the network don't really watch it for the new shit anyways. But I really can't see Vince selling the company. I really don't. I just don't. And I honestly think the stocks will go back up because the XFL had a great performance today. I don't know if you watched, but the XFL actually looked really good today.
I have to say and not to argue with you, David, but I have been saying for about a year and a half now, I think that a lot of the things that Vince is doing right now, I view it as positioning to sell the company before he croaks. And I don't know if that's to Fox or Disney or Amazon, but I really do I look at all the things they've done as far as trading goes and all the things they've done as far as branding goes. And I've been saying for quite a while now, a little over a year since they struck this Fox deal, I really do think that he's positioning himself to sell the company. And I don't know if that's good or bad for wrestling fans because we're getting so far away from wrestling being wrestling and into it being part of a conglomerate. But I don't know. It's intriguing. It's intriguing and scary to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Gold though. Like, what do we know about Vince McMahon? That even in his 70s now, he still wakes up at 4 to 5 in the morning and goes to bed at midnight to 1 in the morning. He's still at this point the first one there, last one to leave, puts in amazing hours. I think he will be like that until he dies. I don't see him taking a retirement. I don't see him stepping away from the business. I don't think he can. This is not like your normal business where they can do the kick him out because he's past his prime. I've also read though where, he's, and who knows when you read all this dirt sheet stuff, but that he's actually priming Shane McMahon to take over, which is crazy because we all know that Shane left and Stephanie and Triple H got very much involved. I do know.
So he started his own telecommunication company, so that's why Shane left.
The only
his own thing.
The only thing I'll say to a counter to that, Magic, is that is the exact same thing I would have said 25 years ago about Ted Turner. And he got caught up in that AOL merger, and he got pushed out of his entire company.
I will say that that's true, but he's had pretty bad medical conditions also.
Right, and I agree, but I don't know. I just see a lot of the moves that WWE has made over the past couple of years with Vince at the helm as just looking at the markets, and I don't know. I just to me it has seemed like he's positioning himself to a move like that.
Now, there is the possibility that when you get someone like Vince McMahon is such a control freak that even in death, he doesn't want to give control up. So instead of having a succession plan, instead of getting someone ready, he sells and his family just gets to benefit that way, which, that's also something that could happen.
That's what I would do.
So one more quick thing, and then I'll be done. There is also rumors about WrestleMania being on Fox. Obviously not this year, but so it will be free to anyone, and then Fox would treat it like a Super Bowl.
Mm,
Now-
I think you would gain a lot of outside fans that don't normally watch wrestling. I think you might gain some of those.
didn't they
Yeah.
do that with WrestleMania 2? Wasn't that when they had it on different networks? Like it was on 3 different. I could be wrong. I know they had it from different venues.
Yeah, different
Wasn't it on
venues.
different networks as
But
well?
it was just that closed circuit stuff still, wasn't it?
I believe so, but I think yes, if the commercials cost $1.7 million like they do with the Super Bowl,
Right.
then I think it would make total sense for Vince. Now he could probably get away with doing $100K per commercial for the first one, since God knows how they don't know how big it's going to be or whatever. It could be worth trying one year. I
Mhm.
think that wouldn't be the end of the world. I think a lot of people would enjoy it, but at the same, I mean, would you make more money off the commercials versus the $9.99 subscribers that are watching it now? I think he probably would be good to do it on both. Have it
So
on the
I
network
think-
and have it on Fox, but that's my opinion.
If you're thinking strictly business, listen to this and tell me how Vince McMahon doesn't say no to this. The only thing I change with my streaming is WrestleMania. Everything else stays the same. So I'm still going to probably keep the majority of my subscribers. Then the only difference is WrestleMania is free. I sell the TV rights, which in that way I could make sure I'm making more money, because Fox will probably be willing to put it all up because they know what they can get in commercial rights, and it wouldn't have to be anywhere near 1.7 million. It's like you said, they could do it so much less and still make money off that. But then, does WrestleMania have commercials? That's the weird part of it.
You'd have to. I mean, you'd honestly, for him to make if he puts it on the network too, right? I mean, are you really losing your subscribers on the network?
If you sell the TV rights, it's not going to be on the network.
Okay, so it's not on the network, so people are going to cancel, right? Because, well, maybe you'll have some cancellations.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, you might have a couple, but if I keep everything the same, the only thing now is WrestleMania is free on Fox.
And I guess a benefit to us would be that it wouldn't be 19 hours long.
It would be
because you could still have the pre-show and all
11
that.
Still, it would be like the Super Bowl. It would still be 5 hours, almost 5 hours. It would still be, yeah, you're right, but it would still be close to the same. They'd probably start the pre-show 5, 6 o'clock.
And you could still have the pre-show on the network, maybe, or you could. I'm guessing Fox would want the pre-show too, because it's probably a ratings machine,
Would Fox allow a 5-hour show to go on with no commercials, though?
They would, and the reason I say they would is because the Super Bowl does that right now. It's longer than that if you count their pregame and everything. No, the
Super Bowl has commercials, though. What I mean is will they allow WrestleMania to go from? I know they throw in little ads during matches now, and some of that I've noticed on the network. But will they allow WWE to go from pre-show to end without having the commercial breaks, or will we be watching SmackDown and Raw?
They'll have commercials still, and
I think that'd be terrible. I don't
if
like
you watch like the pre-shows now, they have commercials on them. Really, I mean, it's WWE stuff, but it's still commercials.
Oh, I agree with you, but Fox is going to want to sell commercial rights to different companies and make extra money out of it. So I think what's going to happen is now we're going to be watching. Maybe they'll have the full match, then the commercial.
Right.
I
think you would have to do planned commercial breaks. I'm
not a fan. I'm just not a fan. I mean, because of reason. When I watch my WrestleMania, but this is me only. I can't speak for everyone else, but when I'm watching WrestleMania, I love the fact that I'm watching WrestleMania.
You're right, and I don't think anyone would say they want the commercials. But how many people out there who don't subscribe and don't buy it on pay-per-view and don't have cable would be more happy that it's for free with commercials on Fox?
A lot of people would, but I think we'll
Here's
see.
Here's the thing to remember. We are the minority. As super fans, we are the minority. Wrestling, WWE, AEW, they do not care about us. And the reason is we're going to watch no matter what. And that's the truth. We know that. It can be a crap product. We're going to watch it. It can be, they can say the main event's going to be the Gobbledygooper versus John Cena. We're going to watch it. We're super.
I don't know about all that now.
Well, okay, that was obviously a joke, but you get what I'm saying. So what they got to hit is the casual fan. And maybe that casual fan never gets pay-per-views, doesn't buy the network, but he's like, holy crap, WrestleMania's for free on Fox.
Actually, now that you're thinking that, I'm thinking about it, Magic. All of us sat there and watched that bullshit in 95, the fake people
Yes.
and the fake Razor Ramones.
That's what I'm
Dungeon
saying.
of Doom, and the main event at the WCW pay-per-view that I paid $39.99 for was
Definitely.
Kevin Sullivan and the Shark versus like Hogan and Brother Brudai, and I fucking sat there and watched it. So
Yeah, because remember, they do not care. They've got us. We can talk all our crap, whatever, but be honest, they've got us.
We'd be
That's
in
why.
an Asylum chat room. Man,
Yes.
you see how well the Gobbledygooker is moving around the ring right now? And who's he wrestling? I don't see him.
It's like he's flying.
Well, he still got it. Oh shit, Sid's jumping off the top rope again. We're fucked. You know.
But anyways, just some things. Who knows what it is? All we know is Vince McMahon did say on his conference call that they're looking into selling the streaming rights and streaming. So something to keep an eye on.
I think that if Vince were to ever sell the company, and if he did, it would be with the signing being that Shane would still be the COO, or Triple H would still be the COO, or the McMahon family would have to have some stronghold still in the company. I know Vince is a businessman, and I get all of that, but I really just don't see him saying, hey, I'm going to sell this out. I'm not going to pass it down to any McMahons. I don't see it, but we thought a lot of things wouldn't happen that have happened thus far. So,
Definitely.
I mean, I was the one sitting there back in 2001. There's no way Vince is buying WCW. Someone's going to get it else, and it's going to stay. And maybe that was just me hoping. But then Vince bought it, and the only reason Vince got it for $3 million was the fact that Bischoff couldn't get a TV deal. So, I mean, can you imagine what wrestling would have looked like if Bischoff basically... This is a whole nother episode, by the way. But if Bischoff basically got a TV deal and bought WCW with his investors and kept it going, would we have had other lines of figures? Would we have had better competition? Or would it have went under in a couple years? Would it have been another TNA? Who knows? But at the end of the day, I just don't see Vince selling it. I see Vince giving it to Shane and Stephanie and Triple H. And I think Triple H is going to take it to the next level because he's going to run it like he does NXT. So, but that's my opinion. Well, listeners, you've had us for probably way longer than normal.
But still short of what Magic wanted with his 4 or 5 hour episode.
That's correct.
Don't forget to mention our YouTube channel. Subscribe.
Yeah, I think we're at 41 subscribers right now, which is way short of our 2,000 goal right now that we have, because we have 2,000 members in the group. So we want all of you to subscribe. Don't forget the free giveaway and the code word that Nick gave out. I'm not repeating it again because that's the whole point. You're supposed to know what it is at this point. And by the next episode, we will see how many Undertakers Magic has. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, just a great episode. I enjoyed talking with you guys. Like I said, it's been a couple weeks, so I appreciate y'all spending the time here. We chit-chatting. Appreciate the listeners listening. Again, wherever you're listening from, whenever you're listening, it's 2:41 a.m. here for us, so we're burning past the midnight oil for you guys, but we've definitely enjoyed doing it. So again, just subscribe, share the Facebook group. We want to grow the community of collectors and just, guys like us that enjoy collections and wrestling and talking wrestling. So, let our page be known and tell your grandmas, your brothers, your sisters, whoever.
Yeah, guys, once again, thank you. Remember, everything we do is for you guys. We couldn't do it without you guys. We appreciate all of our listeners. Guys, and if there's anything you want to see, listen to, maybe discuss a certain match, maybe discuss a pay-per-view, maybe do a watch-along on a certain show, give us a message. Message Nate, message myself, Gold, Nick, any of us. We're willing to listen. We've had some great questions come up. We've had great comments. We've had some funny stuff, some serious stuff, and everything in between. And guys, we are loving doing this. Thank y'all for the feedback. Just thank you for being part of this. And as always, y'all have a great week.
And remember, listeners, as Nate said, that guy was just as pathetic as Gold. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week.